This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, college basketball fans, and welcome to the Primetime Podcast. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the one, the only, Brandon Swanson.
Hey.
And before we start this podcast, Brandon, I've got a kind of hypothetical question for you.
Well, I might have kind of an answer.
It was as I was driving in to do the podcast tonight.
Wow, that's a long drive. You must have had a lot of thinking.
It wasn't. It was like a 5-minute drive to my house here to the studio, but they were talking on local radio here. Here's your proposition. Hypothetical situation. You got one of two choices. You get a half-court shot. You get 10 attempts. You make one of the 10. You get $30 million tax-free. If you miss all 10 of them, you go to maximum security prison for 2 years. Do you take the risk? Do you roll the dice and try to make one half-court shot for $30 million untaxed dollars? But if you miss all of them, you got to go to maximum security for 2 years.
Can they promise me that I won't get beat up?
No, we can't promise that.
Okay, yeah, I ain't doing it.
See, I was on the other. I rolled the dice.
Of course you would. I've seen you shoot. I've seen you shoot. Don't do it.
It's a rhythm.
Don't do it.
It's a dribble, two-step,
Do
and it's
not
off.
do it. I have seen you.
If Northern Iowa can do it, I can do it.
No,
right?
you can't. No, Northern Iowa actually they play basketball
If Northern
almost
Iowa
for a living, but not really.
If Northern Iowa could do it against Texas, I feel like I could do it, right?
Here's the thing, though, is that I mean, how much practice time do we get? Are we doing this tomorrow?
You get as much. You can take as many practice shots as you want beforehand.
I just don't know. 10? I don't know.
All you gotta do is make one.
I know.
Dribble 2 steps and shoot.
You make it sound so much easier than what it really is.
It's so easy.
I don't know.
It's a rhythm. By the time you get to 10, you're so much in a rhythm.
It would be my luck. It would be the 11th shot.
Well,
you're already going to prison, but nice try. Way to go, buddy.
No, I roll the dice. I can make one of them.
I don't know.
Brandon's like, I just don't want to go to jail. See, jail's not even on. It's not even on my mind because I'm going to make one of them, and I'm going to get $30 million.
I like your confidence. I have confidence too, but in things that I will actually be able to do.
Like your bracket?
No, that was bad.
Well, and that's what we're.
I really didn't have a whole lot of confidence in it because I knew that there was going to be upsets that I did not think of. I didn't think that Purdue and Michigan State would make it out of round 1, but you know what? Not a lot of people did.
That Purdue game. That Purdue game to me was the worst of the first round because let's be honest, that whole Midwestern region for me is a fucking crapshoot.
Oh my gosh, the Midwest region. You would have thought someone was bleeding all over my bracket.
Let's put it this way. The only 3 teams that I had correctly picked to get out of day 1 of the tournament from the Midwest, Virginia, Butler, and Utah. Those were the only ones that I had predicted correctly to just get out of the first day. Virginia was my only one that I predicted correctly to get out of the first weekend. Other than that, my bracket wasn't too bad, except, you know what? I'll be honest. The East region wasn't that well either. It was just that whole right side of the bracket to me just can go fuck itself.
I'll be very honest with you. If we were only going by the West bracket, I did a pretty good job.
I only had 2 wrong, Oregon State and Texas. That's it. Oregon State and Texas, because I had Texas going to the Sweet 16.
I think though, you look at this and it's really exciting. Obviously, it's frustrating when you don't get your bracket wrong because everyone feels like they're an expert. If they call the upset or something like that. Oh, I knew it. Oh, you didn't know shit. So you took a guess. Educated as it might be. You don't know. But I think it's kind of fun though to see a Middle Tennessee, a Little Rock, Arkansas.
Even though they lost in the second game?
Even though they lost in the second game, they played quality opponents in Purdue and Michigan State.
Too. Stephen F. Austin.
Absolutely. Northern Iowa. I think that it's fun to kind of... You can throw in Hawaii, too. I think it's fun to see those teams win, even if it's one game. They showed and they proved that there was a reason for them to be in the tournament. Because how many years? How many years going back do we look and we go, nobody college got in? Are you kidding me? Like, that's not even fun to watch. And finally, you have some teams that play well.
It would have been funny this year because Tulsa's that team. Like, what the fuck they got in? If they would have made a run. Hawaii was actually a team that I was hoping would go far in the tournament because I did not know this until I was watching the Hawaii-Cal game in round 1. But apparently they were told earlier this season, hey, have fun. You can go to the tournament this year, but starting next season, you have a postseason ban. So you can't go to the tournament. So after hearing that and they beat Cal, I'm like, you know what? I kind of hope that they bust some brackets and go on a run because this may be the last time that Hawaii gets to go to the tournament in a few years.
I think it's just fun watching teams like that go on a run. Again, even if it's for a game, even if it's for 2 games, it's fun watching them at least make a little bit of a name for themselves. Like I said, with Middle Tennessee, you beat Michigan State, a number 2 seed. Nobody thought that was going to happen.
Who everyone, including myself, was saying they should have been a 1 seed too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Some people said that they should have been a 1 overall. I think I may have been one of those people at one point. Michigan State ended the season as one of the top elite teams. It only takes 1 game to fall. 9 out of 10 times, Michigan State wins that game. This was the one time they didn't.
Well, and another thing, this is what I was thinking of while watching our first round kind of games was all year we talked about, there's so much parity this year. We had, 12 number 1s that had gone down this year. And we finally got our answer for what the postseason was going to be like. And what it was to me was, that seeding may say number 2 next to your name, or for like Mid-Tennessee, could say 15. But let's be honest, Mid-Tennessee is not what we're used to seeing a 15 seed. I was watching them play, and I'm sitting there going, okay, this is like an 11 seed playing a 2 seed. This is not your normal 15 seed team. This isn't like when Lehigh went ahead and beat Duke when they were the 15 over the 2. This team, Mid-Tennessee, they didn't even let the Spartans lead at all in the game. At all in the game. So to me, that's what we got. Gonzaga's another good choice. They're in the Sweet 16. Are they a true 11? Probably not. They should be up a little bit higher. Or like to me, Wisconsin. Maybe it's a 7, but are they really a 7? Wichita State's another one. An 11 seed. They had to go in on a play-in game. And there's no way that I looked at Wichita State and I saw an 11 seed. So to me, because of all the parity we had in the regular season, it showed in the tournament to where seeding doesn't seeding matters in the fact to where, we still got 1, 2, and 3 moving on in the South.
And it matters to the road, the path that you will take.
Yeah, the path. Oregon got to play St. Joe's, who did give them a little bit of a run for their money, but they played Holy Cross in round 1 and just shit all over Holy Cross. And, where you had on the other side, where North Carolina had to play, arguably to me, the toughest 16th seed in FGCU.
Yeah, they did. And I think that it goes back to when people were talking on Selection Sunday afterwards, and you had all the different shows talking about it, analyzing it, and it didn't just affect. They were saying how the seeding was messed up. It didn't just affect teams like a Kentucky. It didn't affect teams at the top with a 1 through 5 seed.
It affected everybody.
It affected everybody. And you look at, like you said, you look at a Middle Tennessee. You look at an Arkansas Little Rock. Were they really a 15 and a 12? I don't know. Middle Tennessee played too good to be a 15 seed. They played way too well.
And now what we have is we got to talk about these Sweet 16 games and eventually what we may see this Saturday and Sunday on Easter for the Elite Eight. Let's start with the South region because that's what we did in our first and second round podcast. To me, this is a region to where, okay, Kansas, Maryland, Villanova, I'm surprised even got to the second weekend. I'll be surprised.
Well, when you got to play Iowa, who didn't show up, that's how you get to.
And
that's
Iowa,
that's how you get there.
Iowa, who should have lost to Temple, but missed free throws and a lucky tip in. That's all it is in this tournament, too, is luck.
And the right timing. Timing is everything in this tournament. Did you get the timely bucket? That's huge.
And that goes into look at the St. Joe Cincinnati game. Ellis hung onto the ball for, let's say, a half a second too long. If he just would have dumped it in, we would have been going to overtime in that game. Because he hung onto it and wanted to go for the dunk, there you go. You're going home. And that's a kid who, they were saying in that broadcast, got kicked off the team, had to transfer to a junior college, then had the opportunity to come back, and that's going to be his last moment playing for the Cincinnati Bearcats.
That's just depressing. It's
hanging onto the ball for a little bit too long. And to me, the one team that, I think the Kansas-Maryland game is going to be what we expect it to be. Kansas is going to roll. Now, is there a chance by me saying that Maryland comes out and plays? Because Maryland did play very well, winning by 13 against Hawaii. I think this Kansas team is too good. To me, that game, the game I'm looking for in the South is that Miami-Villanova game. Because Villanova, to me, proved, okay, you showed up. You didn't let UNC Asheville upset you like a mid-Tennessee did to Michigan State. You didn't let Iowa upset you. You finally got to the second weekend. They have looked good. However, this Miami team has looked even better.
Well,
in my eyes, they've looked even better.
Well, I think that you look at the road for both of them. It's been a lot different. So Villanova rolls over UNC Asheville. Mm-hmm. Villanova rolls over Iowa. If they roll over Iowa, was it more Villanova or was it more the lack of Iowa really playing well, shooting well in the game? But then you look at Miami. They didn't have an easy time with Buffalo. Won by 7. Didn't have an easy time with Wichita State.
They had an easier time than they did against Buffalo.
But they didn't have an easy time.
Did
you watch the fucking game?
I would disagree.
Did you watch the game?
Because with Wichita, I was expecting the Wichita team that we saw going up against, because Wichita to me looked better in their win over Arizona, obviously, than they did in the loss.
Wichita State looked a lot better in their win against Arizona, but then Arizona, every bit of sweat that Arizona was putting out there was going into Steve Miller's shirt. That's what was going on there. So I think that
or even
Miami played a lot better than Arizona. Miami played a lot better than Arizona did against Wichita State, but Wichita State still gave them a run. You win by 8. You can't say it was easy. It was a close game.
Well, in any game, you can say it wasn't. You can really technically say it wasn't easy.
I think for Kansas over Austin Peay, it was easy.
But what about Oregon over Holy Cross? That wasn't easy, right? That wasn't easy. The 91-52 score.
Come on, that was easy.
But no,
they used staples.
To me, Miami is, and here's the thing about Miami. This is why I like them. This is why I have them going up against Kansas. I'm going to stick with it. At the beginning of the bracket, I had Kansas, Miami in the Elite Eight. I'm still going to stay there because the thing with this Miami team, the heartbreak of losing in the NIT championship, they're taking that to heart. They don't want to feel that pain again. They're going to move on to the Elite Eight. Now, do they beat Kansas? Probably not, but at least we'll get a good Kansas-Miami matchup on the 26th.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Kansas-Miami.
I mean, Villanova, that's going to be the game. Miami-Villanova. Villanova can prove me wrong, but I still have Miami going on to the Elite Eight. And then both of us have Kansas winning that game, right? No, neither of us have Miami going to the Final Four.
No.
What about the West region? We've got Oregon, Duke, and then the Aggies and the Sooners.
You know, here's the thing with that is that Oregon's a very complete team, and if you want to look at depth, depth is almost failed Duke both times, but they've found a way to come out on top. and I'm going to roll the way that I have from the beginning.
No,
and
not because they're in your championship game, right?
No, I'm going to pick Duke. I'm going to say that Duke will get the win over Oregon, even though Oregon has played well in this tournament. St. Joe's showed that they can make it real close. I think Duke might be able to get the slight edge over Oregon in this one. Just a feeling.
Now, here's the thing that with me, why I'm kind of teeter-tottering between. I'm going to just make my pick. I'm picking Oregon, but it's not as easy as a pick as I once thought. Because if I look at the Holy Cross game, now, of course, that game they won by nearly 40 points. Everyone on the team played, and we had the 5 starters plus 4 others, so 9 players played double digit minutes in their win over Holy Cross. However, you look at the Oregon game against St. Joe's, only 7 guys played. That's the same as Duke against Yale. So if we get into a matchup where Oregon only plays 7 guys, then Duke may be able to say, hey, you know what? Well, depth ain't a reason we're going to lose because we're playing just as many guys as they are. But here's the difference. Now, I'm just using the Duke-Yale game as the big key. You can also use the first game. But against Yale, Brandon Ingram, Grayson Allen, both played 40 minutes. Kennard, 38 minutes. Plumlee, 31 minutes. So that means you had Jones and Thornton kind of switching for that last spot, 2023, and then Jeter kind of fit in a little bit with 8 minutes. Whereas you had the 2 bench guys for Oregon played 28 and 19. So to me, it's like, yeah, okay, Duke, you had 7 guys playing that game against Yale, but you could technically almost say you had 5, since 2 of those players basically split one spot, or you could technically say you only had 4, because you have 4 of your guys playing nearly every minute of the game. And I mean, Grayson Allen and Brandon Ingram, if you're playing 40 minutes game in and game out, it's going to get on you. And I mean, the good thing with Duke is they did have the whole week to kind of rest up, but Grayson Allen, he's played every single minute of this tournament for Duke. Brandon Ingram has played every minute but 1. So it's going to be, to me in that game, it's going to be interesting to see if Grayson Allen and Ingram kind of show some tired legs in that second half, even though they had a 3-day rest going into this one.
I don't think it really matters because take a look at what Duke's done all season long. That's how they've been all season. That's how they've been all season. And
I think it's going to catch up to you sooner or later.
It may be, but it's Duke.
See, I don't think you can use the argument of it's Duke in this kind of a situation.
Have you seen these guys play? Ingram and what's his face? Forgot his name. Grayson Allen. Who gives a crap?
The fuck face that we don't care about because I hate him.
Well, we don't care about him, I guess. I don't care about him, I guess, because you don't care about him.
I hate him.
It's like girls when they're fighting. We're fighting with Susie right now. Oh, we don't like Susie? Okay, we don't like Susie today. So that's kind of how it is.
Hey, I hate Grayson Allen no matter what day of the week it is.
Brandon Ingram, Grayson Allen, they know what they're doing. They know they're going to have to go out there and play every minute of that game. This is nothing new.
Oregon's
this is nothing new. It's not new to them.
I think Oregon tires them out because, to me, I think what we are going to see is we're going to see a similar kind of game we saw with UNC Wilmington. UNC Wilmington almost beat Duke in that first game.
Yeah, but Duke's still going on.
We're going to see the same thing because guess what? Oregon is a different kind of caliber team than UNC Wilmington. And UNC Wilmington had
both of them.
8 guys playing that game, but really you can say the 7 guys because they had 7 minutes and 8 minutes for 2 of their bench players. But I'm picking Oregon even though you're playing Duke. How about the other one in the West? The Aggies versus my favorite player. He's going to win the national title this year, Buddy Hield.
I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma, but Buddy Hield, He's been showing up in
this. Did you see
this.
him in the last game against VCU?
Yeah,
Did you see him in that one?
Hey, hold on a second.
What?
What if he doesn't show up in the second half?
I think he will, though.
No, but no. Here's my thing. He has not showed up in the first half of either of these games, but he has in the second half. He can't just be. If you want to be a championship caliber team, you can't just show up in the second half. Don't say anything, because I know you're going to say anything. That's my boy, Buddy Hield.
No, I wasn't.
I said don't say anything.
I wasn't going to say that.
Here's the thing, is that you cannot just play a second half. You have got to play both halves. He has got to make his presence known more in that first half so that they are not depending on him as much as they are in the second.
I'm going to be honest. In the VCU game, I am putting the blame on VCU. You want to know why I'm putting the blame on VCU?
Yeah, I do.
There were reports coming out of that game where I guess in the first half, some of the VCU players on the court were kind of trash talking Buddy Hield. Like when they'd come down and you're right next to him guarding, some of the VCU players might be like, "Well, you're the best player in the country. You're this guy we're supposed to be scared of. Come on, big shot. Where are you, Wooden Award winner? Where are you, Mr. Wooden?" They started trash talking him. And to me, I feel like
welcome to sports.
I feel like that fed into Buddy Hield at halftime, and he just sat there and he stewed in it. And he stewed in that stank, and then he came out and he played a great second half. Now I agree with you. You got to have a kind of a complete game, but I just like this Oklahoma team a lot more. And let's be honest with Texas A&M. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be standing here right now because they got lucky. And I know what you're saying. Well, Ricky, it's March Madness. March Madness is like 99.999999999 repeated % luck. Yeah, I get that. But Oklahoma is a good team. They're a talented team. And when you get to the Sweet 16, when you get to the Elite 8, sometimes you got to take luck right out the window. I am taking luck out the window here and going with the Sooners because I like Buddy Hield. I like Isaiah Cousins. I like Spangler. Spangler doesn't need to score. He only had 6 points in the last one, but he had 9 boards for this team. That is what they need. They need guys to help Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield can score 36, but as long as they get like the 15 from Cousins, the 17 from Wooder, they are going to be fine in this one. And I don't think Texas A&M has enough magic to get past Oklahoma in this one. I don't.
I think that Oklahoma will win this game, but I really want to see a little bit more from Buddy Hield overall. I want to see.
I think we're going to see the game of our life from Buddy Hield.
I want to see the full package here.
I think we're
I want
to
see the first half Buddy Hield, and I want to see the second half Buddy Hield, and I want it to be the same one.
And I mean, just like the South region, my Elite 8 in the West region stands tall. Just like I picked it, Oregon, Oklahoma. We're going to see that game on, I want to say that's a Saturday game as well. And guess what? Oklahoma is going to beat Oregon. And Buddy Hield's going to have 2 great games in the Elite 8 and the Sweet 16 to go on to Houston in the Final Four.
Or Oakland. Or Oklahoma could be beating Duke. You just never know. Folks,
either way, they go to the Final Four.
Breaking news alert here, folks. Ricky isn't always right. So don't always listen to everything he says because it's not always completely accurate.
Speaking of me being completely right, anything I say for the next region we're about to go to, just ignore it because the Midwest I've been completely wrong with. But
yeah, you might as well ignore mine too.
But we've got a Virginia-Iowa State game, a Gonzaga-Syracuse game. These ones, we got a little bit of, what did you use in the video last week for your Midwest preview? We've got something in the something because we're actually going to be there. I can't remember the line that you said.
Skin in the game.
We got a little skin in the game because we're actually going to be at the UC Friday night. Friday evening,
yeah.
For the 2 games of Virginia, Iowa State, Gonzaga, Syracuse. I'll be honest. I think the game I'm more excited for is the 11-10 matchup of Zaga-Syracuse.
I am. That's the one that I'm looking forward to the most too. And I think you have an 11 and a 10. This is exciting, knowing that either an 11 or a 10 is going to the Elite Eight. I think that's exciting.
I think Gonzaga's got a chance to go to in my second chance bracket, because let's be honest,
that's the only bracket anyone's working off these days.
My entire Elite Eight in this region is crapped out. They lost on the first day of action with Purdue and Michigan State, or the first 2 days, because it was the first round. So my Elite Eight was kind of crapped in this region right away.
Just your Elite Eight? Gosh. I have X's all over the board this region.
I've got Gonzaga in my second chance bracket, moving on to the Final Four. I have them beating Syracuse, close game, good game. I've got Virginia beating Iowa State because, I don't know, maybe it was Fred Hoiberg. Maybe Hoiberg was the reason that Iowa State got knocked out in the first round last year. Maybe Steve Prohm, bringing over that Murray State racer attitude, is why they've gotten to the Sweet 16. But I think Virginia's too good for Iowa State, and we're going to get a Zaga-Cavalier matchup in the Elite Eight on Easter.
And Fred Hoiberg absolutely is going to be the reason that the Bulls make the playoffs this year, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler is your father.
So here's the picks that I got. I'm going to take Virginia over Iowa State, and then I'm taking Syracuse over Gonzaga. I think Syracuse's defense is going to really disrupt what Gonzaga wants to do on the perimeter shooting. And also, I just think that Syracuse has played their games a little bit more completely than Gonzaga has. But we're going to see two good games.
Well, I mean, even look at the coaches. Like, the coaches in just that one game, Mark Few going up against Jim Boeheim.
Oh, I know.
I mean, Few's been there before. Few has had so many great Gonzaga teams over the years. And then just look at Syracuse with the Fab Melo, the Carmelo Anthony, the Raheem Christmas kind of Syracuse teams.
And I wonder if this game is going to be so intense that we're going to see Jim Boeheim with the crotchal sweat again on his pants.
Well, I don't think we'll see it from where we're sitting behind the basket.
No, I no need to see it. I just saw it one day. It was posted on Barstool Sports. And I'm like, good Lord Almighty.
Yeah, I don't need to see old Jim's crotchal sweat at the UC. But yeah, I mean, for me, you said Cuse, Virginia. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I went with. Yeah.
So you've got Cuse, Virginia. I've got Zaga, Virginia. I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go Gonzaga over West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia's still in it?
Virginia. You know what I meant. It's going to be our second 1 seed to fall in the tournament, and Gonzaga goes to the Final Four in Houston.
Yeah, I'm going to say Syracuse is... Our luck, it'll be Gonzaga. Well, it'll be Syracuse playing Iowa State. But have no idea what we're talking about. That's just how it's come with these brackets.
Well, that could be it, because I mean, with the Midwest region, it's just been like, well, whatever Ricky says, the opposite's going to happen.
Yeah, even the guys on CBS, Charles, but
well, you mean Mr. Pudgy McPudge fingers?
This is the pick I'm taking. Charles, you got it wrong again. Oh, dang. But no, I think it's going to be Syracuse, and I think it's going to be Virginia. And then I think that I think Virginia will get the win there, but it'll be a good game.
What about the last region? We've got the Hoosiers and the Tar Heels. I'll be honest, I was a little upset that the Blue Arrow didn't move on.
I'll be honest, I was shocked a little bit. I mean, Indiana's good, but I thought Kentucky was better. Let's just say that.
And then we've got 6-7 matchup of Notre Dame, Wisconsin.
How about both of those games, the Notre Dame game and the Wisconsin game? Xavier, honestly, I feel bad for you, and SF Austin, I feel bad for you.
Can I have some permission to rant for a second?
Okay, how long is this going to be?
It's going to be like maybe 5 minutes at the most.
Okay, well, I'm going to just sit back and zone out, but you go ahead. You have my permission.
Here is my rant for this region of the bracket. If any of you go ahead and are thinking, oh, well, next year...
if any of you are still listening.
Yeah, well, if you're sitting there next year thinking, I don't know what to do for my bracket, I think I'm going to tweet at Schwarbo and see what Sean Anderson has to say about something with the bracket. If he tells you, like, if you have Notre Dame going to the Elite Eight and then he tells you, oh, I wouldn't have that because Notre Dame's not going to get past West Virginia, and then you go ahead and change it because, you know, he's a Notre Dame fan, so he should know what he's talking about. Don't listen to Sean. Do not listen to Sean. I had Notre Dame in the Elite Eight, and if I wouldn't have listened to his idiocracy, I'm going to call it, about his own team, I would have been sitting here with a totally different tone. I would have been sitting here going, I called it. I told you the Fighting Irish. I'm still going to say it. I told you guys the Fighting Irish would go to the Elite Eight.
That's what you get when you listen to a newbie.
However, with what's on the table, and because I don't have Notre Dame in the Elite Eight, I'm going Wisconsin versus North Carolina in the Elite Eight in the East region. However, I don't think I'd be upset with a Wisconsin-Hoosier matchup. A Big Ten Elite Eight game on Easter, what's not to like? What's not to like about that? I love the Big Ten.
And you'll be at the Elite Eight game, right?
No, not for that one.
No, won't
not
be
in the East region.
No.
Trying to work on going to that Eastern game at the UC, though.
Yeah.
That Easter game, I should say, not Eastern.
The Eastern game.
The Easter game.
The Eastern game
But
in
no,
the Midwest.
I think, like, if it was Kentucky, I think Kentucky could have had enough weapons to beat the Tar Heels. Plus, I like Calipari more than Tom Crean. But I think this Tar Heel team just gets past the Hoosiers, plays Wisconsin. I'm going to go with Wisconsin in the Elite Eight.
Not a bad pick. I'm going to go with, let's see, I'm going to go with North Carolina, and I'm going to go Notre Dame.
The Fighting Irish?
Yeah.
I mean, they've had the luck of the Irish this tournament. The last tip-in, and I am going to say this, with that last tip-in that they had against SFA, they ruined our chance to have a podcast in a week full of Stone Cold Steve Austin references. Because we would have had 3 double-seeded teams in the Sweet 16, and it would have just opened the door for 316 jokes and Stone Cold Steve Austin all week. But they ruined it by winning. I don't know. I think that this is a Wisconsin team that has said, you know what? We may not be the same team as last year. And let's be honest, I will play the same side of the sword that I played with Texas A&M. You could say Wisconsin got lucky with that last-second shot against Xavier. I will give you that. You can say they got lucky in that terrible game. That terrible game they played against Pitt, where, what was it, the leading scorer went like 4 for 10 from Pitt. 4 from 10 from the field, and they won it 47-43. What a terrible, terrible game from both these teams. Like, Nigel Hayes went 3 of 17 in 38 minutes in that game. What a terrible, terrible game. However, they flipped the script against Xavier. I think that our 2 best games this weekend are going to be Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and then Gonzaga-Cuse. The ones that don't have a 1 seed or a 5 or higher.
You know, I agree with you. I think Notre Dame and Wisconsin is going to be really big just because of how the last 2, for these teams, their last games, how they ended. I mean, just with fireworks for both of them. And then I think Gonzaga and Syracuse, it's just, you know, an 11 and a 10, it's going to be good.
What about your Elite Eight? Who wins, Tar Heels or the Fighting Irish?
Oh, it's going to be North Carolina.
So you're going to have, so if our Final Fours are correct, because I'm picking the Tar Heels too, I'm going to have Gonzaga, UNC. You're going to have, I believe you said Syracuse, UNC? Did you have Syracuse going to the Final Four from the Midwest, or did you have Virginia?
I had Virginia.
So you've got the one-on-one with Virginia and the Tar Heels. I'm going to say, you know what, fuck it. Gonzaga goes to the national championship. They beat the Tar Heels. They will go to the national championship. Fuck it.
Who
Why
even
not?
cares?
I mean, the Bulldogs will play the Sooners in the national championship. Buddy Hield wins it all. Gonzaga still doesn't have a championship. What are you going to say?
Well, I'm just thinking of Adam Morrison. He's crying some more in the stands.
No, he's crying on the court in Houston. He's going to be sitting there at half court pulling the jersey over his eyes.
Hopefully shaved by then.
Well, no. He's got to have the full-length hair and the Adam Morrison stash going on.
Well, let's see. Okay, so Oh, boy. I got Virginia, North Carolina. Then I've got Kansas and Oklahoma. And we're going to have Oklahoma obviously beating Kansas because, third time's the charm, they say. Unless you lose the third time, then the fourth time got to get them. But then I'm gonna have North Carolina getting the win over Virginia. North Carolina gets the dub over Oklahoma.
Over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So you're going to say Oklahoma goes, but they don't win it.
They go, but they don't win. You're right.
So that's going to do it for our Final Four there. However, this is all going to change next week as we preview the Final Four. That'll probably have nobody that me and Brandon just said is going to make
probably not a
this
one.
Final Four. But